Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to episode 4 of Ranting with yours truly. This time, I'm going to be talking about healing in duels, and I guess I should mention that the first 3 episodes of Ranting with Rep were pertaining to Dark Souls 2 type stuff. This one's going to be all about Bloodborne. Now, I'm also going to be delving a little bit into what healing was all about in the Souls games, some of the general opinions on it, and I guess first of all, some people are going to be wondering which way I lean in Bloodborne, whether I'm for or against healing. First of all, I do not get salty when people heal on me in a duel in Bloodborne. I understand that there's a portion of the community that thinks that healing is a-okay in Bloodborne. I can understand the arguments for it, but in the end, I tend to not agree. So, personally, I don't heal in duels. I don't even heal in one-on-one random invasions, typically. I do not. What it really boils down to is I don't like the gameplay. Whenever 2 opponents are healing and spamming firearms at each other trying to prevent those heals. Now, first of all, let me cut myself off and sort of sidetrack myself here. This is my new build. It uses the Beast Claws, the Saw Cleaver, the Flame Sprayer, and the Repeating Pistol. Let me tell you, this build is a lot more difficult for me to use. I've been having some issues, man, even in one-on-ones. Especially in 2v1s and 3v1s, man. I cannot seem to get it going with this build, at least when compared to my Blood Tinge and especially my Quality build. Now, those 2 guys, I haven't really been having much of a problem. Everything sort of clicked from the beginning. This guy, not so much. But let me get back to talking about healing. Oh yeah, and the variety of fights that you're seeing here, there's going to be a pretty decent variety. Towards the middle, and from the middle to the end is really demonstrations of fights wherein my opponents are healing on me, and a series of fights wherein my opponents are not healing on me, and I'm obviously not healing on them. Just to kind of have some side-by-side comparisons, just to wrap things up. But the beginning here is some fun, and in some cases, kind of lucky fights I think I had early on with my Beast Claw build. Now, healing in duels, man. So, in the Souls games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, let's just say it was considered, or it still is considered, bad form to heal in a duel. And also, just for clarification, every one-on-one is not a duel, right? Especially in the Souls games. Now, if you're invading, you catch a lone host going through the level, clearing enemies, trying to make his way to the boss, that's not a duel. That is a random invasion, and if the host is healing in that scenario, that's to be expected. If they choose not to heal, to defend themselves against a hostile invader, trying to, protect themselves from losing all that progress, if they choose not to heal for honor or whatever reason, that's on them, right? But in my mind, that kind of fight is not a duel. So, although you really don't see many situations like that here in Bloodborne, typically when you invade a lone host, they're sitting there waiting for you, right? They're waiting for people to come in so they can duel. So you really don't run into that type of stuff too often. Every now and then, you might get a host who is ringing the Sinister Bell while clearing through the level, just, for the extra challenge to make it like a Souls type experience. Or you might get a host who's rung the Beckoning Bell and they're going ahead and clearing through the level solo. Every now and then you might run into stuff like that, but very rarely from my experience so far. So, most one-on-ones in Bloodborne are duels. Straight up. And I'd say, just from my experience so far, and I've played quite a bit of PvP, especially in the last several weeks, but I haven't played as much as some. But from my general experience, it's been about 60-40. I'd say about 60% of my opponents are very similar to the opponents I used to face throughout all the Souls games. They still don't heal, no matter what. And I'd say about 40%, which is a lot higher than what I'm used to in the Souls games. I'd say about 40% of my opponents heal in one-on-ones, so I have been expecting it in every single fight. This is actually one of the first fights where my opponent is really healing up on me, and this isn't nearly as ugly as it can get, but this really went poorly for me. Spoiler alert, I got my ass kicked here. I didn't heal, I ran out of Quicksilver bullets, and because of my self-imposed rules, I'm not gonna heal. And that also includes, getting blood bullets and healing myself up. I'm just not going to do that. So I put myself at a disadvantage, definitely, against especially really competent players that are just better than me in general, and that heal, right? Whenever I don't heal, I've gotten drilled by some of those guys, man, let me tell you. Some of the tactics that they use, I guess advanced healing tactics, wherein, dash to the left, dash to the right, dash backwards. Oh, am I going to heal now? Oh, no, I'm going to heal now. I'm going to heal myself back up to full. What's up? That type of stuff. Or, kind of getting enough range on you and then instantly unlocking, turning their back to you and popping a heal. That way they know that even if they do get parried, that their back is going to be to you and you're not going to be able to get in for the riposte. So there's plenty of guys that will, really use everything they can to take you out and to survive. Now I can understand the arguments for it, because, for healing, that is, because in Bloodborne, you die quite quickly, especially if you're using one of the, top tier weapons that has, full gems and you're well optimized. You're probably going to kill people in 2 or 3 hits more often than not. So I can certainly understand the mentality for it. But here's my main argument for that, is that in Dark Souls 2, for example, you could die in one riposte easily. You could die in one backstab. Hornet Ring, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I used to get killed in one backstab and one riposte quite often in Dark Souls, and healing still wasn't okay then. I mean, obviously, when you're getting killed in one hit, you don't have a chance to heal. But, let's just say that, I guess my point is that riposte and backstabs did so much damage that, even if you got hit with one and you had just a sliver of health left, it was still bad for him to heal. That was not an acceptable thing for many people. The Demon Souls is kind of a different animal. Healing in Demon Souls was a bit out of control. It was really hard to stop if you were going up against someone that was absolutely determined to heal on you. Those fights could last a while. They could last way longer than a Bloodborne fight. But, the thing with healing in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, especially those two, was that healing was quite easily punished. Now, every now and then you'd run into people that were cheating and they'd pop divine blessings and stuff like that. Not a whole lot you could do about that shit, but when it comes to Estus, humanity, there was lots of ways you could handle something like that. The first thing that comes to mind is just the inclusion of Lloyd's talismans. And I know there's Numbing Mist in Bloodborne, but man, they might as well have just left it out of Bloodborne, because I feel like it's so useless in Bloodborne. Like, the chances that you're going to be able to hit someone with that are so low. And, because there are such a variety of people in Bloodborne that implement different types of tactics just for healing in itself. You know, you run into some people that instantly back away and panic heal. Those guys are pretty easy to shut down, right? Because you can kind of see it coming from a mile away. Hell, you can kind of tell that they're going to be the type of player that will panic heal just from the way that they play early on. So it's the type of thing that you can see through. But when you're dealing with someone who's going to turn their back to you, you know, at the right distances and pop heals and, you know, dash left, dash right, mix it up, keep you off guard, heal as soon as you fire and they see that you miss, you're going to have some problems dealing with people like that. You're going to have problems shutting down that type of healing. At least I have problems. I really shouldn't be, you know, speaking like you're going to have problems, but I personally have a lot of issues there. And then because of the inconsistency when it comes to punishing the heal, I am so against healing in Bloodborne. But that being said, I don't get salty when people heal on me. I absolutely don't. I can understand the argument, and that's really the primary thing. But these last few fights are in contrast to, I guess, the last several that just played, because they are, in my opinion, pretty good demonstrations of the types of fights that you can have when your opponent and yourself don't heal. You can have these down-to-the-wire fights wherein they last a pretty good amount of time, right? It's certainly not a quick fight, and you know, both yourself and your opponent have a sliver of health. You're trying everything you can to squeeze in that last hit. I mean, those are my favorite types of fights, easily, throughout the entire Soulsborne series. I really can't stress that enough. And I feel that when both opponents are healing constantly, the chances of you having, you know, that type of drag-out fight where both of you have a sliver of health left and you're just on the edge of your seat, you know, trying to squeeze in that last hit, the chances of that type of fight happening are pretty low, right? So yeah, we're coming pretty close to the end of the video here, and like I said, at least I think I touched on this. This isn't a salty rant at all. It's just kind of having a nice casual discussion about the game and just really talking about my train of thought behind healing. But this is the last fight, guys, and for the next video, you can probably expect something from my new Beast Claw build. Perhaps a little bit of footage from my last couple sessions with the Blood Tinge build. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the rant. Take care, and I will catch you on the next one.